Right.
I'm all good to do.
Just to let you know, this interview is being recorded and a copy of this interview may be used should your case go to trial. The time is 1937 on the 6th of the 3rd, 2023. We are in interview room 1 at Vespucci Police Station. I am PC Kalen Wolf, collar number 6050, currently a part of the Professional Standards and Development team. Today I'm going to be interviewing... Can you state your name and badge number?
Oh yeah, Maverick Walker, 4176.
For the offence of unlawful discharge of a firearm and it'll be section 18 GBH with intent. But before I can discuss this, I do have to caution you. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which you later rely on a court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. At the end of this interview, I will explain to you how you can get a copy of the interview recordings for your records.
Yeah, I've got something stuck in my teeth, mate. Let me just use this mirror.
Sorry?
Something stuck in my teeth here. Let's have a look. I think I'm alright.
Would you mind just sitting down so we can
Yeah,
get through
I'm
this?
alright. Sorry, mate. It's fine. Something stuck in my teeth. Fine.
So, in this interview, you have the right to a solicitor present. You have chosen not to exercise this right. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If at any point you change your mind, let me know. We'll pause the interview and contact a solicitor for you.
Alright,
So, you know why you're here, don't you?
would you like to disclose that to me?
Right. In your own words, can you explain what happened on the 14th of February 2023 at approximately 10 p.m?
Well, which incident are you talking about? Because I've been accused of two.
They are both a part of the same incident.
Alright, fair enough. Well, what was it? I think the first incident was where some civilians tried to run another civilian over, and my partner at the time, Levi Thomas, decided to shoot him. I never pulled out my...
Sorry, can you repeat that? You never pulled out your firearm?
I never discharged my firearm at that vehicle.
Yep.
That was than anyone else. I do not know why I've been accused of that, as it is completely incorrect. And then shortly after, another civilian started to attack an officer. He's put dust or anything. So I used my firearm to incapacitate that man, who, by the way, did make a full recovery. But it was to save an officer's life. So I believe it was justified, as it was for the preservation of an officer's life.
Right, okay. So you say that you was with Levi Thomas?
Yes, I was.
Right. Can you confirm for me, as you was in CID at the time?
Yep.
Was you in police uniform or was you in plain uniform?
I have police markings on when I discharged my firearm, yes. I will say that I did, Levi Thomas didn't, and I would like to say that right, let me finish.
Yep.
At no point did I, was a marked patrol.
Sorry, your voice box skipped a beat there. You said at no point and...
At no point I didn't tell him to take his markings off at any point. And then, yeah, as it was a marked patrol, I didn't tell him to take them off at all. And, oh yeah, I told him afterward, shot the person in the car. I did reprimand him afterwards, because obviously it's not allowed.
Yeah. So... But that still doesn't answer my question of, was you...
You didn't ask a question.
Was you in police uniform, i.e. the uniform you're wearing now, or was you in...
No, because I was in a CID uniform, bossman.
Right. That's what I was getting at, thank you.
Okay.
So... in regards to the incident of the civilian punching the police officer, can you explain that to me in a bit more detail?
Yeah, so I was on scene, obviously, and obviously there was a bit of a kerfuffle, as you might say,
Yeah.
as my partner had just shot somebody out of the car. But obviously that's not related to me at all. I didn't tell him to. Firearm.
Right.
And then, somebody started attacking an officer. Honestly, it was dark. It was nighttime at the time. I had absolutely no clue. The officer was, as I will say, officer appeared to be close to being down. So I pulled out. At the time, I believe the man may have possibly had a knuckle just or a concealed weapon, considering he'd got the officer close to being downed at that time. Okay, so I believed at that time that it was necessary because an officer would possibly there was a threat.
Right. So you were saying that you was using your FTOC to provide cover for lost.
Not to provide cover, to conserve life at that time, as I believed.
That's my miswording. Sorry. So you would say to preserve life, Lim?
Yes, to preserve life.
Right. So obviously we've interviewed Levi as well.
Okay.
And he has some discrepancies from what you've just said to me.
Okay.
But what he said is that both of you were in unmarked clothing until the point of you discharging your firearm or getting involved in that scene.
Honestly, it was a while ago. I'm pretty sure that I was in markings because obviously there had been a scene before that.
Oh my god.
Shooting? Yeah. There had been a scene before that, so I'm pretty sure I was in markings. That's not an issue. This is to do with misuse of FTOC. I was in markings when I shot the man, so it's not relevant, I'm afraid.
Right.
Obviously, CID has already dealt with me.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it's relevant.
You must understand I'm pointing out the indiscrepancies between...
Okay, but it's not relevant, is it?
I know, but right. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass you over this... I'm going to pass you over this, what I have been given, which is PSD 01. Right, you should be able to see that. Right, would you be able to talk me through this video?
Yeah, let me look at it first, boss man.
Yep, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep, would you be able to quickly talk me through that video?
Let me have that 1 second. It's not finished. Well, from what I can see, that's me discharging me a firearm at a car that's just ran people over.
Right. So, at what...
I don't know what more you want me to say at that point, mate.
What timestamp is that on the video?
What timestamp's what?
Of what you just explained.
Who's shooting?
Well, the bloke's inside at that point, mate. I don't know what you would say.
Did we fuck it
Yeah,
up?
man.
What the fuck?
Why have you just shot me, brother? You dickhead. Bastard.
Right, so you'd say that's like I've just rewatched the video myself, and at 16 seconds, yes, you were discharging your firearm at a vehicle that has just run someone over.
Yes.
If you'd like to continue watching the video for me. From 16 seconds onwards, and tell me what happens on past that.
You can see an officer's obviously been attacked, and from my perspective, you can see him fall over, which looks like he's threat to life. And I've just charged my firearm because I believed at the time that it was to save a life, essentially.
You can't get there, Charles.
What are you police doing?
People being punched outside.
Fuck the police. He's gone. Shoot him.
Right.
A man has been punched in the face.
I don't even know,
on
mate,
the
honestly.
floor,
They're just shooting
Yeah.
people for no reason.
and he's been repeatedly attacked. So you can see why I may have believed there was a weapon, possibly knuckle dusters, etc. You can see. And so at that point, I believed there was a threat to life, so I discharged my firearm.
Did you take into consideration the fact of potential crossfire?
Yes, I did, and there was nobody behind the car.
Right.
My knowledge, anyway.
Could you quickly go over for me the use
Yeah,
of
there's
FTOC? Like the standards of procedure of the use of FTOC?
standards and procedures. It's a defensive firearm. I use it in defense because obviously it was to preserve a fellow officer's life. It was, by the procedures of FTOC, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm unsure of what that question means.
Sorry about that. I'm going to continue on. That was my mobile phone ringing for the benefit of that tape.
Okay.
Right. So my question is about that clip. That body worn clip. So you were aware of the firearms officers that were there, correct?
Yeah, and one of them was being put on the floor by a person in hospital gown, mate.
Yes. So
Okay.
Why was it that most of the firearms officers went to their tasers, but it was only you and the officer in the video?
With all due respect, mate, I wasn't exactly looking at every officer to see what he had in his hand at that point. I was using my firearm to protect a life at the time.
Right. Okay. But surely you would have been able to have noticed that you were the only one that pulled out a firearm in that incident.
Well, with all due respect, but if somebody else is attacking another person, you're going to be focused on that. You're not going to be focused on what the bloke next to you's holding, are you? You're immediately going to try and handle that situation. You're thinking, oh, he's got that in his hand.
Right.
Oh, he's got a new beard in. Oh, that's quite nice. You're going to be solely focused on that instant, aren't you? Because you want to preserve a life.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you've just answered your own question. You're not going to be focused on that, are you?
But surely, as a situational awareness, you would be aware of everything going on around you.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was aware of the fact there was an officer being hit and who had just fallen to the floor.
but you wasn't aware of the person standing directly next to you that had a taser out, rather than his firearm.
Of course I wouldn't, because you tell me, in the heat of the moment, would you be checking what the bloke next to you has in his hand instead of trying to solve this situation that's unraveling in front of you? Fellow officer has been put on his life in danger, which at the time I believed, and you're saying next to you before doing it.
Right.
Do you want me to check myself in my pocket mirror as well whilst I'm at it, just make sure I look good in the body cam?
I'm also gonna send you another video.
Yeah.
Which is PSD-08. This, I believe, happened later on during the evening. But I would like for you to run me through that video and
Okay, once again, I'm going to justify it. There was a threat to an officer's life, and at the time, I believe the bloke had just ran the officer over, so I was getting him out of the car, essentially.
right. But yet again, there were other officers there with also firearms that decided not to use that.
Yeah, because the firearms officer... There's one firearms officer there, okay? And that firearms officer did not take out any sort of... Like, he didn't take out his taser, didn't take the guy's gun, because he knew that what the situation...
Right. So you're saying for that...
And I immediately apologised and,
You were saying for that you were unaware.
Oh, yes, because the bloke just ran somebody over. He's used his car as a weapon against an officer, in my eyes. I'm unsure of what you want me to say here, but he says that, oh, you ran an officer over. Oh, yeah, go ahead, but, In that situation, you're also going to attempt to detain the man, aren't you?
Right, but there's a difference between drawing your firearm and pointing your firearm as the difference of use of force policies.
Okay.
So, would you ever consider any of your actions to be out of line of those use of force policies?
Well, to be honest, but at that point, it's on the line. I believe my actions can be justifiable because from what I've seen, as you can see in the video, the firearms officer.
Yep.
From what I've seen, the bloke just ran at full speed. He's broken cordon on an active scene where there's danger to the public. He's broken cordon and instantly rammed an officer down in my eyes. So I can, obviously, in my eyes, he's just maliciously attacked an officer. So I believed at that point it was justifiable. Others may have a difference in opinion. But
Right.
I'm happy to admit that was on the line, but to attack an officer, who knows what he can pull out or do there.
Right, give me 2 more seconds. So, before pulling out your firearm within the first incident,
Okay.
the incident I showed you in PSD-01, you said that there could have possibly been a weapon.
Yeah.
surely in your mind you would confirm that there was a weapon before potentially.
Once again, mate, I'm going to tell you the same thing as when you told
Right.
me to look at what my fellow officers are holding. I'm going to tell you, at that point, I was trying to deal with a situation where an officer has been put on the floor by a man attacking him. And to me, it looks like the officer's life,
Right. If you.
because the officer may have not been able to get up, etc., etc. So, and I'm not going to be looking in his hand, am I? I'm going to be trying to save that officer's life, essentially.
Right. If you'd let me finish the question. So you would check to see if the person had any form of weapon before taking potentially deadly force. Surely there is a escalation you could have followed.
I'm going to quote the avant-garde rules and procedures here. I'm going to say, you can only deploy the firearm in order to save life or limb. I deployed my firearm to save life or limb at that moment.
Yeah, but you do realise that also means taser as well.
Okay.
Right. Do you... no. Sorry. My brain just went blank there. We're going to have to cut this interview now because of the 8 o'clock storm.
Okay.
Interview recommencing at 20:07. All peoples are accounted for back in the room. Right. Sorry, just before storm, I was going to ask you a question. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yep. I didn't hear the question, though, if you did ask it.
No. I couldn't hear you. I could see your mouth moving, but not anything. Right.
Okay.
So, the question I'm going to ask you, in the incident of PSD-01, you said that there was no one behind the suspect or the vehicle when you shot at
Okay.
the suspect.
All right.
Right. What I'm going to show you is PSD-06. Right, can you walk me through this body-worn camera?
Okay, so the boat's been run over, and I've shot, then the boat stood up and I've stopped shooting, from what I can see.
Yep, can you watch a bit further, please?
Yeah. There's nobody from the angle that I'm shooting behind it.
Rubbish, man. You didn't really.
No one, you say.
Yeah, no, the angle that I'm shooting, no. I can send you a little screen grab if you'd like.
No one in
There you
the
go.
line of sight.
No. Admittedly, there's people close to it, but there's nobody in the line of sight.
Right. I'm going to take... So this was when you had first fired your shot.
Okay.
So this is when you had first fired your shot. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that puts the person whose body-worn camera this is directly in the line of fire.
I cannot see anything. That is a very dodgy link. It's giving me a link to a text channel, Bossman.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Right, okay. This should... Sorry, just give me 2 seconds. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Right. I think the best way for me to do this is to send you this through your email. If you'd like to just access your email.
Yep, I can see it.
Right. So that is at the point of your first shot.
Okay.
Would you not
You can see
say...
that Levi isn't directly behind him. So.
Yeah, but that is not the person I'm on about. That's the person that is in whose body-worn camera this is. That
Okay.
puts them in your line of sight.
It puts the person I'm shooting in the line of sight, but if you see the angle that I'm shooting from, it's not the direct line of sight, no. Because...
Okay. Right. Directly after you shot this individual,
Okay.
did you attempt to give him any form of first aid or call for any first aid to be done on the individual?
I do not recall. Well, he was right next to a hospital, to be honest, mate, so I assume he was transported in there pretty pronto.
Did you transport him, or was he transported by someone else?
Is that relevant?
It's relevant, yes.
In what way?
It is relevant.
I was led to believe that this interview is about the misuse of a firearm, not about the situation afterwards.
Yes, which is a part of our use of force policies, and as a part of the use of force policies, we have to have accountability for it, and we have to have...
Yeah,
We
that's
have to have...
accountability.
We also have to have duty of care with everyone that we use force on. That is a part of our use of force policy.
Okay. And he was given care when he was transported to the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
so what's your
what-
issue here?
Did you attempt to give him first aid, or did you
He was transported to the hospital.
did you seek for him to get medical help?
He received medical help.
Right.
And it wasn't like I fucking left him out to dry for half an hour. He received medical help as soon as he was downed.
Right, okay. Was the individual arrested?
I'm unsure.
You're unsure.
Yes. Once again, I argue that this isn't relevant at all.
So, have you ever used your F-Talk before like this?
How do you mean like this? The very vague question.
Have you ever deployed your F-Talk whilst out on an active undercover deployment?
This was not an active undercover deployment.
You said that you guys were in plain clothing, like in the...
It was
CID
a marked tier.
unmarked.
As someone who was
Sorry,
previously
yes.
in CID, I will explain too that we have marked patrols and unmarked patrols. UC patrols, sorry, they're completely different things.
Yes, sorry, that is... Yet again, my miswording. So, you were out on your CID patrol.
Okay.
I'll rephrase the question. Have you ever deployed your F-Talk in the use of your CID patrols?
Whilst on a CID patrol, yes, I have, with police markings on.
Right. Have you ever, after deploying your F-Talk, given any form of first aid?
Of course, yes.
Right.
Although in this particular situation, there was a hospital right next to us where there are more trained medical professionals there to give him treatment.
Did you attempt to call them on radio?
We transported him inside the hospital, and then he was taken care of. I can confirm that he received. I saw him being checked into pillbox.
Right. But you're unaware if he was arrested?
I am, yes. Once again, it's not relevant.
Right. So, with all you know, this guy wasn't arrested.
No, that is not what I said. I said I'm unaware.
That is what I'm saying. So, to your knowledge, you do not know whether this person was arrested or not.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
It was out of my hands after that.
Why was it out of your hands?
I was not the bloke that put cuffs on him. So he was,
But you
at that
were-
point, he was not my PLC.
But you were the one that incapacitated him.
Okay.
So,
At what point in the use of force policy does it say that the person who incapacitates them has to be the one that arrests them? I would just like to know.
no, but it is a part of the duty of care that you foresee.
Or that I should arrest him?
No. That you foresee any medical treatment, and if
Yes. And as I explained to you before, I witnessed him get checked into pillbox. I witnessed him receive medical care. Therefore, I ensured he received it.
right, you witnessed it or you took him.
I observed him.
Okay. Did you get his name?
Irrelevant.
So,
At that point, the man had gunshot wounds, so he needed to receive medical care.
yes. Did you not attempt to get his name from the medical staff that were at the hospital?
Please let me know.
Sorry?
Can you explain to me why this is at all relevant? You're not here to ask me why I didn't arrest him. You're here to ask me about the situation.
Which is what I'm doing.
Okay, but it's not. This situation is completely different to a situation that occurred a couple of minutes ago. I arrested him or not. That's not why you sent me your Reg 17 or anything, so I'm not going to answer questions on it, am I?
Okay. So, how many officers do you believe there were outside of that hospital when he was attacking?
I'm unsure.
Was there 2, 3, more?
As I just said, I'm unsure.
Right, okay. Was you aware of quite a few officers in and around that vicinity at the time.
Yeah, I was aware that there were other officers there.
Right. Okay. You don't believe your force to be excessive?
No. I justify my use of force by saying it was to save life or limb, which is a direct quote from the avant-garde policy.
Right. And you do not believe there was a better way of protecting life or limb?
At that time, I didn't know because I was unsure whether he had a weapon or not. And considering the officer was he was on the floor. I believe there was a large threat to life, so I believe there was a possible can do a lot of damage. There was there was a direct threat to life at that time, and I acted as I saw fit.
Right. I'm gonna... What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask you if this statement would be correct if you're using FTOC.
Okay.
When you are using FTOC, you identify yourself as a police officer. You then employ the ask, tell, make, and then you escalate up to taser before drawing firearm.
What do you want me to say about this?
Would you agree or disagree that that is the way to do stuff?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. At what point did you discover that the person you had shot did not have a weapon?
May I ask how this is relevant?
It's a part of the situation.
I don't think so, but I was informed when I was spoken to by yourself and the other members of the PST team.
So you didn't
I believe I was not the officer that searched him at the time.
Right, okay. Right, so I'm going to reiterate what you've told me. So you was outside Pillbox on the 14th of February 2023 at approximately 10 PM in the evening with Levi Thomas, as you were a part of a CID patrol at that point.
Yeah.
You had reprimanded Levi for shooting the person without police markings on earlier on that scene.
Yeah.
When you then after some little time, you saw officers getting attacked by someone who was punching them. You believed them to have a knuckle duster.
Yep.
But, sorry, before this, one of the people got run over from the scene, so you decided to open fire on that car to prevent them from leaving?
No, to prevent them from further attacking officers.
Sorry, my bad. So, from a prevent of attacking other officers.
Yep, once again, justified to save life or limb.
Yes, I'm not. I'm just repeating what you've told me. You've turned round after that to the officer being punched to the point that he fell over.
Okay.
At that point, you pointed your firearm at the individual who you thought had a weapon, and you discharged it.
Yep, once again, justified because I was doing it to save life or limb.
Right. You didn't know if that person had a weapon or not. You couldn't.
I knew that the officer's life was in danger,
Yes.
and I believed at the time he had a weapon because, in my eyes, it looked like the officer was close to being downed and therefore possibly losing his life.
Right. You would not notice the other officers around you had taken up a different stance, i.e. the taser that I pointed out to you.
We've gone over this.
Yeah, no, I'm summarising it.
Okay.
So, after you had shot the individual, you didn't give medical care.
I ensured he received medical care.
You ensured he received medical care by
Yep.
You observed him being taken into the hospital.
Yes.
Right. So, is that a fair representation of what you believe had happened?
With the parts that I've corrected you, yes.
Right. Yep. Right. So, if you have any further questions for me during this interview, you can make them known now.
No.
Right, okay. So, at this point, it is 2027 on the 6th of the 3rd, 2023. I have